October 17th, and this is Geeknights. Tonight we come out of our funk to bring you Japanese-style versus puzzle games.
Let's do this.
The sad fact about yesterday's show is that we did a much better show after the show while we were laying around talking.
Well, I guess it's because we weren't being informative. We were just laying around talking, which is, I think, getting the idea from listening to a lot of podcasts and from listening to our podcast that the entertaining bit is when people are just laying around talking and not trying too hard.
Well, it depends. I mean, sometimes we've been informative and it's awesome. I think it was a combination of the topic and whatever. But anyway, today is a much better day. For today,
if you show me a show that has never had a bad episode, I mean, come on, seriously. Even the greatest shows, there's a bad episode of Cowboy Bebop. That one with the aliens, it wasn't so hot.
It was fine. What are you talking about?
So you get the point, is that we don't have to make every episode amazing.
Yeah, we do.
All right, whatever.
More importantly, I would like to point out, because a lot of people seem to have noticed that the episode didn't appear properly in the feed last night.
Yep.
All Scott.
I forgot to attach the category.
I just want to note, because the one time a while ago when I went to sleep without dealing with the show properly, Scott raised holy hellfire about it.
Yeah.
So, I just had to bring that up.
Okay.
That's all. I'm not going to rag on him, because I've done it before. Now we're in a level playing field again.
So when you screw up, I can rag on you again.
Yeah, until you screw up, and then we're even again.
Yeah, exactly. So you're the only one that gets ragged on. Because it's all your fault.
Anyway, more importantly, we mentioned yesterday probably my favorite thing ever now. I know I say that a lot, but this is particularly special. My man Scroats.
Okay, so we were hanging out over the weekend, and our friend was showing us this game, Magic Pendule.
A game that, now, like a year and a half, 2 years ago, he says, I got this awesome game that you need to see for the PS2. I'll bring it when I visit. He visited. He brought the game. He did not bring a PlayStation 2, and none of us owned one. Oh well.
Yeah.
He says he'll bring it to Otakon with the PS2. Forgets the PS2. We go somewhere where we have a PS2. Forgets the game.
He basically failed to show us this game forever. So finally we go to his house. So he shows us the game. Now, the way the game was described to me is that I thought you drew some sort of two-dimensional monster, and then it came to life and fought other monsters. Apparently,
you draw a three-dimensional monster.
You draw a three-dimensional monster, but it's not quite as free form as I had imagined, but you can do a lot.
It's very free form. You can do a lot of things.
It's not as free as I hoped, but it was still very free.
Because what you hoped for was impossible with that level of technology.
I guess. But
yeah.
Wasn't the PS2 supposed to be able to control ICBMs with nukes on them?
Scott, we got to the moon as the United States with something less powerful than my TI-85 calculator before I overclocked it.
I know, but remember when they didn't want Saddam to get PS2s?
Yeah. You know what? That brought back a whole bunch of sad memories.
Yeah, but anyway.
Yeah, for all of our political leanings, Clinton was awesome, but those weren't the best president's years. I'll say that.
No, they weren't.
Anyway.
So, he finally shows us this game, and he shows us all the cool monsters he's made. He's got like a Godzilla-looking thing, and there's a thing that looks like the big monsters from Nausicaa.
Yep, he made a monster that was himself. Now, the thing is, the monsters looked pretty cool, but they were all right. And then he showed us how you draw a monster, and the monsters he'd drawn became 1 billion times more impressive, because I can't imagine doing something like that in 3D with an analog thumb nub.
Yeah, I mean, if there was this game needs a DS for real, because on the PS2, you're really limited by the interface.
Yeah, this game on the DS would make gangbusters. Well,
anyway,
it would go gangbusters.
So he starts to draw a new monster to show us what drawing a new monster is like.
He draws a blob with blob feet and blob arms and a blob head.
And we're like, what the hell? Aren't you going to draw like a penis? And he in all the time of owning this game for years, never drew a penis. Can you believe that? That would be the first thing that any reasonable person would draw.
Yeah, I mean, the DS proved to the world, and it started a new thing where if you are given an electronic media wherein you can draw something, the first thing any human being will draw is a penis. If you do not draw a penis, you are not a human being.
I mean, even Gabe, who draws day in and day out, goes up in front of a class of little kids, teaches them how to draw a funny cartoon, and what is the first urge? Don't draw penis, don't draw penis, don't draw penis.
So, now I will note, though, that he didn't really play the game a lot since the DS came out, and the DS was really the beginning of that trend.
Yeah, I guess it was.
Because, I mean, before then, there was the cockboat, but other than that, I didn't really draw penises on a regular basis. I've drawn more penises since the DS came out than in the rest of my life combined.
I'd say that is true, yeah.
Including the 11 to 14-year-old years, which are key for penis drawing.
They are indeed the era in
fact,
which most penises drawn. But in our times, there wasn't so much penis drawing. There was a lot more stick figure with boobs drawing going on.
Really?
At least in my town.
No one could really draw. There wasn't much drawing. The thing we would always do is we'd draw stick figure wars. You draw like 1,000 stick men with white heads fighting 1,000 stick men with black heads, and they all had guns.
Wow, that was racist.
See, it wasn't so much racism, it was that we couldn't draw, and the only way we could differentiate stickmen was to color in the head or not color in the head.
Anyway, so he finally drew a penis in this game. He made a penis monster.
Now, not only did he draw a penis, but the whole room, the whole front row crew who was there is sitting around directing him, like, make the shaft longer, make the head a different color, make the balls brown and gnarly, put some wrinkles on them, get some veins in there.
In the end, I thought it was done, but they continued to add a bunch of scraggly, nasty hairs and some varicose veins of varying color.
Now, I'll note that every now and then he could go into this thing that would show you a rough idea of how it would look when it was walking, when it was dancing, when it was attacking, when it was sad. And once it was mostly complete and he sets it to the dancing thing, Scott, who was staring at the screen rapturously the entire time with rapt attention, says, "Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah."
It wasn't oh yeah like that. It was oh yeah like, oh yeah, it's awesome.
No,
because it was freaking awesome.
It was more of a oh yeah.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
No, it wasn't.
Considering
it was like Kool-Aid. Oh yeah.
No, because after you said that, the entire room turns and looks at you. There is exactly 8 seconds of silence, and then we all died roefling.
What does that say about you guys?
That we figured something out about your personal life. And it was hilarious.
That I think it's awesome when there's a hilarious dancing penis.
So we finally start playing the game, and it just gets worse. Because, first of all, he names it Scroats in the game.
It was a perfect name.
I suggested Testicles. A nice, regal, Roman-sounding name.
King Testicles.
But Scroats,
Emperor Testicles.
Scroats was good. And Scroats comes out, and then this little girl comes out with her monster to fight our monster. And this little girl's monster is this little stuffed animal. And the stuffed animal, runs over and bats at the penis and does a little bit of damage. And then Scroats rears up and does a horrible motion.
Think of M. Bison Psycho Crusher. Turns horizontal, flies through the air, and bangs into the enemy. Only it's a headbutt in a penis sort of way.
It just leans down and bam! Or it'll do a nice spin where it kind of whips the testicles around and hits it.
Yeah, it'll spin around really rapidly, just with the testicles, sort of like a helicopter blade, only on the bottom, and then whack the bad guy a few times with the nuts.
Because the worst thing was that as the final touch, at Kate's request, they added a little bit of stretchy spooge kind of hanging down from the tip.
Yeah, that was kind of nasty and unnecessary, if you ask me.
Gratuitous, one might say.
Yeah, it definitely made it look uglier. I mean, it looked so nice and pristine before they added some of that shit.
I gotta say, it was a little disturbing when he goes into the pasture, where he keeps all his monsters, and you see it just kind of frolicking in the grass and bounding around.
Yeah, it was rather unpleasant.
That is the story of Scroats. I implore Nintendo or anyone to make a game like that for the DS.
I think the lesson learned is if you have a game that lets you draw a penis.
There's really no two ways around that.
No, it's really hard to avoid.
All right, news time?
Yeah, okay.
We got some news.
So, my news. You may not know this, but there's something called DS Homebrew. And it's this whole sort of... Yeah, it's this group of people and this technology that allows you to do things with your Nintendo DS besides what Nintendo expects you to do with it.
Hey, Scott, is it a witch's homebrew?
No, it is not a witch's homebrew.
I got another question.
Is it about witch's homebrew?
No, well, Maybe. Anyway,
So
Homestar.
So basically what people would do is they would use, the original was the Pass Me device, which would allow you to take code from your computer and play it on your DS. But then they went on and they got better things like the M3 and, they got different kinds of, they'd put like flash cartridges in the GBA slot and they'd put like boot cartridges in the DS slot that would stick out of your DS.
None of these things were very elegant.
Yeah, none of them were elegant solutions. They would work and you could play NES ROMs, SNES ROMs, GBA ROMs, DS ROMs. You could also, there's a lot of software written for the DS by just people. There's a comic reading software for the DS. You can read comics on that thing. There are MP3 players, all sorts of stuff.
I gotta say, the only reason I didn't get into it was that I never heard someone who had one have anything particularly glowing to say about the one they had.
There were some people who would flash the DS itself to replace the firmware.
Not gonna happen.
If there was a guy, I saw a video of him doing it, and if I had that guy do it for me, I would have said okay. But I'm not going to try that myself.
See, the last time I did anything like that was when I modded my PS1 with a 6-pin mod chip. And I can't solder anymore. I used to solder stuff all the time as a kid. Circuits and stuff, and I was playing around with electronics, and I was in Science Olympiad. I can't solder anymore. Soldering that mod chip, I burned myself like 9 times.
Yeah, I've also lost that skill mostly. I got to get it back.
It's not that useful anymore. It's easier just to buy a new whatever thing broke that you're trying to fix.
Yeah, but what if you're trying to make something new?
I buy an IC.
Or mod something. Anyway.
You get a mod chip that sticks on the outside.
Yeah, there are flash me's and pass me's and all this dreck that you had to deal with, and it was all expensive and confusing, and nothing was perfect. Now there is a new thing called the DS-Extreme, and this is as pretty much as close as we're going to get to perfection. Now, it's a bit expensive. It's like over $100 for this thing. But what it is, it's a DS cartridge that has a little tiny USB connector at the top so you can plug it into your computer. And inside of this flash cartridge, DS cartridge, is 512 megabytes or 4 gigabits of flash memory. And in that flash memory, you can put DS ROMs, MP3s, Ogg Vorbis files, just about anything you want. And you put this cartridge in your DS, and it plays them. And it's got a cool little, menu system. So you could, a big DS ROM usually is only about 30 megabytes. So you can put a whole lot of DS ROMs inside this one DS cartridge and put it in your DS and then choose in the menu which DS game you want to play. The best thing is that this fully supports, one cartridge play. So if you have a ROM of, say, Mario Kart, you can play it with, all your friends, even if they don't have Mario Kart. And pretty much these guys tested a whole bunch of different games, and the only game that didn't work right was Pokemon Diamond from Japan. Oh, well.
Yeah, I got to say, if I actually jump on this boat and get some sort of play ROMs on my DS, Nintendo and a lot of other companies are going to lose a lot of money because I bought Bionic Commando for $20. If I could just play my ROM collection on my DS, that is my ROMs minus the ROMs that suck times $20 that they're losing. And I'll say right now that I'll pirate them, and I'll do that, and that's the end of that question.
Yeah, the way I figured out, if you want to play NES, SNES, well, not SNES doesn't work so well, but NES, GBA type ROMs, you have to do is get one of these programs for your computer, and you take that program and you take, say, an NES ROM, and you feed it into the program, and the program will spit out a Nintendo DS ROM of the NES game, and you load that onto the cartridge to get it to play. And that's how these things kind of work. But DS Doom supposedly works, even though one guy couldn't get it to work, everyone else could. Scum VM DS works, so you can play Monkey Island on your DS with this thing.
Oh.
Yeah, this is a hot thing.
See, this wouldn't be an issue if these companies would all have embraced the DS and brought out all these games that now we're pirating.
I know. Why? The problem is that, the DS can play GBA and DS games. So if I get one of these, I'm not going to be using it to play GBA and DS games on my DS. If I want to do that, I'll just buy the game. It's, I don't need to pirate that, even though I could understand 13-year-old kids with no money doing that. I'll excuse them. Me, what do I care? A $30 DS game. It's not like there's so many DS games. I already have every DS game I want. What do I need to pirate one for?
But like, imagine if Sierra had just taken all the Police Quest, Space Quest, Quest for Glory games and put them out on the DS.
I would have bought them all. But no, they're not doing that. And, while I can get a lot of these games on my computer, I'm using Linux, and we got a Mac downstairs, and, while I can emulate the games there, or perhaps get the original versions there, or get an actual, old NES out and play the old games, it's so much effort, and it's not portable. If I get an NES game, I want to play it portably, And Rim, look, he's willing to pay for it. He just bought Bionic Commando for the GBA.
Yeah.
But
Strider counts as negative money as far as I'm concerned, and Mighty Final Fight is a pretty much useless game.
It's worth it to play one time.
Oh yeah, one time.
One time ever.
I already played it.
Yep.
Before I bought this game, I played it again to remind myself that the game involves drop kick, drop kick, drop kick, drop kick, drop kick, drop kick. That's how you win.
Yep.
Right now, I just spoiled the game. If you drop kick everyone, you can't lose.
But anyway, the point is that there's this awesome new cart that you can buy. And you put it in your DS, and your DS basically becomes this programmable, portable computer that can do all sorts of awesome things that it's not meant to do.
Isn't James or someone going to get this?
Yeah, I'm going to convince someone to get it now that I've figured out, how it works.
We've often used James as our test bed for things.
Yeah, I'm using him as the test bed for this department because he's a lot more interested in it than I am because he wants to program some DS softwares.
We do too. We just don't have time.
I know.
Remember when we tried to get a DS dev kit and Nintendo laughed at us?
Yeah, well, now, who's laughing now? I'm going to get one for $100 and change.
DEF CON.
Yeah.
DEF CON on the DS.
Oh, shit.
That would be... Wow. I wonder if he thought of that.
I don't know.
I'm going to email him and just say, hey, did you consider putting DEF CON on the DS? And I'll just fill the rest of the email with $signs. All right. Speaking of $signs, Grand Theft Auto 4. It's going to have all these high-res polygons.
I just got to say something real quick about Grand Theft Auto.
Great.
I played Grand Theft Auto 1, and in its day on the PC, on DOS, that was a fun game. And then I played the expansions for it, Grand Theft Auto London, which is the same game, only it was a little bit more fun because they said funny British things, and the cars were cool, and London was a lot more fun to drive around.
Why is that? Why is it that British accents make things cooler to us in the U.S.?
I don't know, but the Austin Powers car was wicked cool. Anyway, GTA 2 came out, and it was basically the same game, only they changed it. It was darker, and it wasn't good. They had these gang wars and crap, and they added all this extra crap to the game. It was no longer simply run around, for fun, driving and running over people. It got kind of bleh. GTA 3, I played it once, and I was like, oh, well, this isn't the game it used to be. Screw this shit. But yet, somehow, it's the most popular game.
See, I enjoyed it because it was the first widely known sandbox kind of, here's the world, interact with it game.
But GTA 1 was like that. GTA 3 was like a worse game, but they made it 3D. Without, it's like the game itself was 3D, but it was the same as the 2D game, only popped up.
No, because the world was a lot more immersive. Being 3D and having better graphics and the way the game was, it was more immersive, and you could do more.
Not much more.
Yeah, quite a bit more.
You shot people, you beat people up, you ran them over with cars.
Yeah, it was a lot more fun to me in the 3D. But then again, I played the 3D exactly how long I could have enjoyed that. About 2 hours.
Yeah, I actually beat, GTA 1.
Yeah. But anyway, that's not my point.
Yep.
I don't care at all. People are allowed to enjoy Grand Theft Auto.
Mm-hmm.
Captain, any game that I don't like sucks ass, and people who play it are stupid.
Yeah, exactly. If I don't like it, I'm going to say it sucks. That's what people say things suck when they don't like them.
No, because you always go the step further and say, and you're wasting your time, and you're stupid, and you're
you
horrible.
Are.
Except you, I recall, last week, would come home from work and play Sonic the fucking Hedgehog 2.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, now Grand Theft Auto 4 is going to be coming out for the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360.
No kidding.
But they had announced a while ago there's going to be exclusive content on the Xbox 360. So if you get that version of the game, you get extra.
Ooh.
Now, the news here is not 100% verified yet, but they've got a source, who they call Source. And I don't, if whether it's true or not is not the issue, but this sort of thing has been happening a lot lately. The rumor is, and I'll give it about a 75% chance of being true, Grand Theft Auto 4 is going to have alternate exclusive content for the PlayStation 3 release.
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of like when Soul Calibur 3 or 2 was released on 3 systems.
I was just going to say that.
And each one, one had Link, one had someone else, one had someone else. You can tell which one I cared about.
Yeah, and which most people cared about because apparently the GameCube was the most popular Soul Calibur 2 platform.
Yeah, to anyone who thought the GameCube didn't do well, I mean, it outsold the Xbox worldwide, and Soul Calibur 2 for the GameCube sold more than either for the other ones.
I don't know. I think the PS2 sold more, possibly, but I think that like at tournaments and stuff, people always played the GameCube one.
Well, part of the thing, remember, it's confounding issues there. I mean, the GameCube one looked better because the PlayStation 2 was really kind of at the end of its life.
Yeah. It's still at the end of its life, but games are still coming out for it.
Yeah, and I'll bet games will keep coming out for it.
Yep, for a while now.
What's bothered me now is that a lot lately people are saying, oh, this game is exclusive for 3 months, and 3 months later it comes out on another platform.
Yep.
And I guess it seems like such a dishonest and crappy business practice, but yet people fall for it. There are people who buy a console because of an exclusive game, even though the game will come out for another console later.
Yeah, I mean, that's the number one thing I use. If I'm deciding on what console to buy, my number one decision factor is the exclusive games because, if there's a game that's going to come out for the PS3, the Xbox 360, and the computer, well, and I really want the game, then I'm going to get the computer. Why should I buy a console? I have a computer. So it all comes down to, okay, if I'm going to buy a console, it has to have a lot of games that I need that console in order to play, that are games that I must play, that I can't live without playing somehow. And, Nintendo always seems to have the exclusives. You're not going to see Zelda on anywhere else, and you're not going to see it anywhere else.
Things of the day!
I had another thing of the day planned, but I'm going to push it back to tomorrow because my brother informed me I had a more important thing of the day to use.
See, the thing is, I could totally preempt your thing of the day now because I'm the one who found it and showed it to you. I built it up for a whole day. I was like, I got this awesome thing, and when you see it, you're going to go,
It's my thing of the day. I got dibs. I called dibs, and I'm going to do it tomorrow.
But what if I do it today? You could still do it tomorrow.
No.
Why not?
Because it's already been done. We never duplicate things of the day unless we forget.
Well, if I do it today, then it would be your choice to duplicate it tomorrow.
I already got dibs. If you violate dibs, there will be consequences.
All right, fine. I'll just say that Scott's thing of the day involves Batman
Hey.
and Super Mario Brothers 2.
Stop giving away my things of the day.
Yeah. All right, you can give my things of the day away.
I forget what your thing of the day is.
Really?
Yeah, what is it?
All right. So there's this game, a little Flash game that came out.
Oh, yeah, I can't remember now.
And Scott pointed me to it after, first he starts playing it in his room, and I hear him, because whenever he wants attention, he'll talk really loudly in his room, hoping I'll walk in. So I hear, oh, a game. Huh. Oh. Fuck this game. And then he runs into my room and says, you got to try this game.
And you tried that game.
This game, it's just, those games where you got a little cursor, and you have a block that follows your mouse cursor. You have to move it around an obstacle course without touching anything and get it to a goal. No big deal. This one reverses your mouse. Up is down, left is right.
It really sucks. It really sucks.
Now, I got to level 19, and I stopped only because it was late, and we had to do the show.
It was indeed level 19. I saw it. We're not lying.
Now, this game it's painful to watch someone else play it.
It's even more painful to play it.
Because when you lose, it makes this noise, and it's like shock therapy.
It really is just so irritating to even be near this game.
Now, something interesting is that after I played the first 2 levels, I got really, really, really good at it, and now I can just sit down and get back to level 19 in about 5 minutes.
Well, yeah, it's really a matter of patience beating the game.
No, it's a matter of muscle memory. If you play it for like a half hour or so, you can just use a backwards mouse fine now. I can just use a backwards mouse without even thinking about it.
Yeah. But I mean, anyone can do that. So it's just patience. And are you going to sit there and build that skill? And once you do, it's just how long are you going to spend playing before you win?
I think the skill is permanent.
I don't know.
A week from now, I'm going to try to play the game. Because just now I played the game, and I literally went level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 without even trying. I could just move the mouse around backwards.
Uh-huh.
However, to get to that point, I had to play the game for over a half hour yesterday, and got fucking damn.
Was that worth it?
Yeah, I think it was.
All right.
You know what? It's more worth it than learning to type in Dvorak. All right. So, what was your thing of the day?
All right.
Yeah.
So, today is a special day. It is Tuesday, the 17th.
Oh, shit.
You may not realize this, but Tuesday the 17th only occurs alongside a Friday the 13th.
It is, in fact, the unluckiest day of the year.
It is indeed the unluckiest day of the year. Now,
luckily, we had some beef carcasses today, so we're okay.
We're okay with our beef carcasses. Now, my brother IM'd me, and he was like, bad juju. And that's all he said. And I immediately knew what he was talking about and sent him a YouTube link to my thing of the day, which is an episode of Ren and Stimpy that is very old that we both remember called... what's it called? Like Stimpy Superstitious Stimpy is the name of the episode.
I had totally forgotten about this holiday. I mean, this is right up there with Shout at the Sky Day and International Talk Like a Pirate Day, International Day of Slayer.
Yep. Superstitious Stimpy is an episode of Ren and Stimpy where it's Tuesday the 17th. And Ren.
I guess that makes you Stimpy.
No. Anyway.
Pitcher, pitcher.
No, it's no good. Ren is really unlucky. In fact, he's the unlucky beast. Like, he was born on Tuesday the 17th, and he has webbed toes, and they basically really make fun of superstitions, but they're also true in the episode where people get hit with lightning because they do something unlucky, and it's pretty hilarious. And today's Tuesday the 17th. My brother used to think he was born on Tuesday the 17th because he was born on a 17th. But I just checked, and he was born on Monday the 17th.
Whoa, lucky.
Yeah.
Well, if he hadn't been lucky, he would have been born on this Tuesday the 17th.
Exactly.
Okay.
Just to clarify, superstitions are all bullshit.
Yeah, except apparently throwing salt over your shoulders.
It's not a superstition. It's a ritual, just like Penn says.
I won't bring it up in too detail now because I don't want to go long in the episode, but I recall you getting quite perturbed at one point when we prevented you from throwing the salt over your shoulder.
You got rituals, you do.
Like what?
Stuff.
Like what? I'm curious. I'm not denying it, but I'd like to hear some evidence.
Let's see. What are some of Rim's rituals?
Scott can't come up with anything. Besides, Scott is the one who is so anti-religion, spirituality, philosophy, anything, and yet he throws salt over his shoulder to keep the demons away.
It's not to keep the demons away. There's nothing wrong with doing things as long as you don't,
Well, I'll note that the reason you gave us for many years that you did it was, quote, because otherwise something bad will happen.
No, I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
I said something will happen.
Okay.
And something will happen. Something always happens. Something's happening right now. Who knows?
So it's okay to make a pedantic kind of BS argument like that?
It's okay to have a meaningless ritual if it's not harmful.
World of Warcraft is a meaningless ritual.
No, it's not. That takes way too much time.
Why?
If your ritual, because it's harmful.
You're wasting salt.
Wasting salt isn't harmful.
You're also making a mess.
That's not harmful either. The salt, you make things clean.
Right, whatever. Today, we're going to talk about Japanese versus puzzle games because over the weekend, we didn't bring any board games to the Northern Geek House. We pretty much just played video games, hung out, and drank a little.
Yep. And we watched one movie, but I slept.
Yeah, it wasn't that good a movie. I was really disappointed.
Oh, good. I'm glad I slept.
Yeah, for reference, the movie was All the Queen's Men, which would have been a useless movie, but it had Eddie Izzard in it, and it had some really good lines, but the movie was overall kind of meh.
All right. Anyway, for those of you who don't realize, we play Tetris in this country. And I think we play, what are the games they play? Like Bejeweled and, all those puzzle games where stuff falls from the top and you guide it to the bottom. Or stuff falls from the top and you kind of move stuff around to arrange it in a better fashion. And Well, in Japan, there's a lot more of those that we never get to see, or they get turned into something else before they come over to this country.
Not only that, just the whole genre of versus style puzzle games where things fall from the sky and time is a factor is really more advanced over there.
Yeah, if you try to play, like, for example, Card Captor Sakura Tetris, right? You play this thing on the PlayStation in Japan. Now, it's Tetris, only it has Card Captor Sakura on it. Okay, it has a nice theme. Very nice. However, if you play versus mode, you actually choose a character. And depending on which character you choose, when you do damage to the opponent, your character will do damage in a different pattern based on the character you choose. And some characters are actually better than others and drop more dangerous patterns on the enemy. You know, you ever play some good examples in the U.S. would be Super Puzzle Fighter, where your Street Fighter guy does attacks to the other side. Only imagine the character mattering a lot more. Japan has a lot of games like this.
Yeah, basically, I would say that these games aren't so much puzzle games as they are fighting games. They're just abstract fighting games.
Yeah, I guess you could look at it that way. You know, it's a fighting game, because reflexes and control of the gamepad matter just as much. Only it's more about quick thinking, and it's sort of like, you solve your puzzle in a way that, causes an attack. So instead of just pushing a button to make an attack happen, you sort of build an attack in your board and then unleash it at the critical moment. While your opponent might unleash attacks on you, which, mess up your board and defeat your ability to release attacks.
Now, normally we talk about how awesome we are at things, but we're not the old school masters of these games. In fact, I had never seen these games until I got to RIT, and at the RIT Anime Club social nights, I saw a lot of people older than me playing these games very quickly and very well.
Yeah, we suck, relatively speaking. I mean, I could probably beat most of the listeners until
way to throw down my okay.
I mean, the listeners because who else is there? There's me, and the listeners, right? So I could probably beat most of the listeners who never played the game before, but I imagine a lot of them would advance their skill rapidly and thwart us.
See, like we watch our friend Adam and our friend Skojo play the game, right?
They would kick our ass every time.
But watching them play each other, the game looks really easy, and they're just throwing stuff around, then 5 minutes later someone dies. So then I sit down next to him, like Adam, and I play. I died within 11 seconds.
Yeah, I'm thinking this game is completely unfair because I have no chance to do anything at all. I'm like, this is just bullshit. Screw this game. It's not worth it.
So one of the games we played this weekend was Magical Drop.
Magical Drop is a classic. I think there are actually newer ones, like Magical Drop F or Magical Drop J or S. I don't know. They're letters.
The gameplay is very simple. You can gems of different color are coming down in square patterns from the sky, and they're it's like Tetris upside down.
Yep.
Like there's this board growing on top of you, and you can
think of it like stalactites coming down from the ceiling.
Yeah, because remember, stalagmites might hang from the ceiling, but they don't.
Right, and you're this little jester, and the jester is at the bottom of the screen.
See, I don't think you're the jester. I think you are the ranging between cute and slightly etchy girl standing in the background, and the jester is your minion.
Okay, you could put it that way. But anyway, you control the jester, and the jester can do two things. He can pull balls from the top of the screen into his hands.
Skirts.
And he can take all the balls in his hands and toss them up to the top of the screen. Those are the two things he can do.
Now, there's different colors, and the goal is to get, 3?
4.
4 in a row.
I think 4.
A number in a row vertically of one color. If you cause that to happen, then every gemmy of that color touching those will disappear in addition to those.
Mm-hmm. So let's say there's a horizontal row of blue balls. You go to the far left, you pull the blue ball down into your hand. You go right. You pull down another blue ball. You go to the right. You take the 2 blue balls you're holding and throw them to the top of the screen. Now you've got 3 blue balls in one vertical column. They disappear. But they're touching this horizontal row of blue balls that are still remaining. All those disappear as well.
Yeah, because if blue balls are touching a horizontal row of blue balls, that's the best way to get rid of blue balls.
Of course. Now, the problem is you can only hold one color ball at the same time. So if you're holding a blue ball, you can't pull down a yellow ball or a green ball.
So if you see, you can say there's 5 blue balls you can grab. You go, grab, then you throw them all in one spot and make them all go away.
You got to toss up the blue balls before you can grab the green balls.
And there's other things. I mean, depending on what character you are, because every time you make things go away or get combos, it drops bad things on the other person's screen. They're little slimes with eyeballs. And they will...
No, that's a different game.
All right, that's Battle Balls. I'm thinking of the wrong game.
Yeah, it drops ice cubes and all sorts of other nasty
shit. It just drops other stuff on the other guy's screen. Does damage to them. The pattern of the damage depends on what character you play.
For example, one character does a lot of damage in the middle. So if you want to defeat this character, you're going to have a strategy where you take balls from the middle and put them on the sides. Or else the middle row is going to get really long and come down and stab you right away when the sides are going to be really shallow and not near killing you.
I'll note that if you've never played these games before, it doesn't matter. You'll just lose.
Basically, yeah.
Unless, when Scott and I played against each other, it was fine because we both really sucked and the game actually was playable.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think what makes the games interesting in general is that if you play something like Tetris, it's the same every time. It's who's going to play Tetris better. But these characters, while they might unbalance the game at points, and what they do is they force the opponent to change up how they play the game in order to win. If I play the game in a certain way all the time, and you use a different character, it drastically changes the pattern of the pieces I have to play with, and I'm forced to completely change my strategy or lose unless you don't know what you're doing, in which case it doesn't matter. Okay, the other game we played was Battle Balls.
Right after we generated and played with Scroats for about an hour.
Right. Now, my first playing of Battle Balls, I was playing against someone who's really good, and I couldn't do anything, so I thought the game was complete crap and useless. And I was right about some of that, and not so right about some of that, but it wasn't as impossible as I thought it was. But it's still a little bit annoying and a little bit luck-based at points.
My experience with the game was thus. I have a little triangle of balls falling. All right, I'll let them fall somewhere. Oh, look, they rolled out. They spread out. Oh, another set. Ooh, I can get those colors to line up. Hey, it didn't fall where I wanted it to do. What the fuck? I'm dead.
Yeah, see, the problem with this game is that you have these balls, then they come down in sets of 3, and they're different colors. And if you can, you put them down, and if any of them are kind of not balanced properly, they'll fall down and, roll around until they land somewhere.
Yep.
So think of it like, you're taking a bunch of pebbles in your hand and you just let go of them. Some of them land on top of the pile and stay there. Some of them roll down the sides. Now, if you match up enough balls of the right color touching each other, they disappear. And that causes the balls on top of them to fall down, which in turn, hopefully, will make another set of colored balls that will disappear and cause a chain reaction, eventually doing extreme damage to the opponent.
The goal of experienced players seems to be to set up a giant combo, build, and then it's kind of a brinksmanship thing where both people are building. If you set off a combo and the other person sets off a combo while you're doing it to counter your combo, they basically end up doing more damage to you than you do to them because they counter it and then they counterattack.
Yeah, the timing has a lot to do with it, which is why, we did say it's a lot like a fighting game. And, normally the combo the other guy did would have just done a whole bunch of damage. If you play Tetris, if I get a Tetris and Rim gets a Tetris, it evens out. Imagine if the timing of when you set off the Tetris caused, the guy who does it at the right moment actually does more damage to the opponent. It adds this whole other level to the game instead of just putting the things in the right places, but putting them in the right places at the right time. Sometimes you want to go slow, sometimes you want to go fast.
Now, this is the game that has that horrible damage thing. Damage seems to come in the form of little slimies that fall into your board, and anytime they come across one of your balls, they grab it and turn that color. Now, they count as that color, and you can destroy them by destroying normal balls next to them. But you can't destroy them on their own. And furthermore, when you destroy them, the slime goes away, and the ball they originally were remains.
Yeah, so you basically have two kinds of balls. There's the colored balls, and there's colored balls with eyeballs. And if it has eyeballs, that's not good. And when you get damage, your screen basically fills up with eyeballs. Normally, there's only a few eyeballs on your screen, but when you get damaged, there's a lot of eyeballs on your screen. A whole lot of eyeballs. And you can't get rid of an eyeball unless you match up some non-eyeballs on top of them. And often, playing against a good opponent, they'll fill your screen with eyeballs to the point where you have no room on top of the eyeballs to make any matches whatsoever, unless you're really, really lucky and the pieces that you get, don't have any eyeballs in them. And then all the other opponent has to do is, let's say I'm near the top of the screen, but I can still make a match and clear the whole screen away. I put down a piece. Then he drops a few more eyeballs on me. I'm done. There's no way I can win. That's it. There's eyeballs there. There's no way to get rid of them. There's no room. Game over. And that's what kind of bothered me, is that it felt like, when you weren't dead, you were dead anyway. And I really don't think a game should have that situation where, if I have lost, it should be game over. It's kind of annoying when it's game over, but it's not game over yet.
I disagree in this game because, one, that situation lasts about 5 seconds.
It does, but it's still annoying. And
two,
I go through this 5 seconds of time where I'm trying to save myself and I can't.
The reason that's there is because if you were actually good, that usually you're not as hurt, and that gives you the chance to where if you had a combo set up to get to it.
Sometimes there was a small chance, and people did escape from that horrible situation. However, it mostly depended on what balls they were given, which is random and not a matter of skill.
The situation at most lasts a few seconds. It's not a big deal in this game.
Yeah. The other thing that bothered me is, I would set up a big combo, and I would just need one particular colored ball to set it off. And I wouldn't get that colored ball for, too many pieces, in which case it didn't matter anymore, and I need a completely different color, and I never get exactly what I need. And it's just kind of annoying because, all the timing in the world and all the nice setup in the world won't help you if the game doesn't give you the color that you want.
It also has the interesting mechanic that the game is pretty much symmetrical. Both people get the same pieces. Imagine playing Tetris where everyone gets a square, then everyone gets a line, then everyone gets another square.
Yeah, it's kind of tricky, though. I mean, it doesn't, as people really start playing, one guy either drops way more pieces than the other guy, and then one guy gets attacked, and it doesn't really, matter so much anymore. And, who knows where in the sequence of balls each guy is.
Well, yeah, but you get the same starting sequence. So you start on a perfectly level playing field. If you lose...
it seems perfectly level, but then, a couple eyeballs will fall down, and that mixes up the whole thing.
But that's after the start. I said you start with a perfectly even playing field.
Yeah, I guess so. It just doesn't really... It's not really equal.
It is.
Kind of.
You're just complaining because you suck at the game, and I also suck at the game, but I accept that fact and move on.
Yeah, well, I accept the fact that I suck at the game. I'm just pointing out, these slight imperfections in its puzzling.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot more games like this, like Puyo Pop and whatever.
Yeah, Puyo Pop. That's the one where you just drop the little eyeball guys and match the colors.
No, you shoot them up. I think.
I don't remember.
There's a million of these games.
Yeah. One other one I just want to talk about real quick is Panel de Pon, which you might not know as Pokemon Puzzle League for the N64. They changed it to Pokemon when they brought it over here because they figured otherwise no one would want it. But it's actually this really kind of good puzzle game where there's a bunch of squares of different colors and you kind of flip them and you try to match them up, to be the same color. Like, there's a red and a blue next to each other. Let me, make them switch places. Now there's 3 reds in a row and they disappear. And it came out, or did it not come out? I can't remember.
If I had a thought bird, it would play right now.
They made a GBA compilation of puzzle games, and they put Dr. Mario, and it was either Panel de Pon or something else on there. It was Yoshi's Cookie. And
Yoshi's Cookie is a bad game.
I like Yoshi's Cookie.
It's not a fun
I think
game.
They took out Panel de Pon, which they were going to put on there originally, which kind of sucks because I like it. But yeah, it's another similar game. You choose a character, and that changes the kind of stuff that happens to the other guy. And yeah,
if you see these games around, the best places to find them are usually at anime conventions.
Another good place is just anywhere you can get PlayStation ROMs. I mean, we're talking about PlayStation ROMs anyway. They're all Japanese games, but the menus are pretty simple. I mean, you go to one player.
Not only do you not need to know Japanese to play the game, but even if you have trouble, there are a million facts and walkthroughs and translations because these games are very popular in the U.S. among anime fans and hardcore gamers.
I think most of it has to do with the fact that a lot of them, like I said, Card Captor Sakura Tetris, and a game like Magical Drop has an anime intro to it. They're all anime characters or anime-style characters that you're choosing from, and that really appeals to anime fans. Something else I just want to warn anyone about who tries to play a Japanese PlayStation game, because most of these are PlayStation games, is that in America, X is yes, and, square or triangle is no.
Which I never got, because I played Japanese games for the PlayStation long before I ever played an actual English game.
Yep.
And it fucked me. It makes sense. Circle yes, X no. Why did they change it in America?
I don't know, but in Japan and all these Japanese games, circle is yes and X is no. So when you want to go through the menu to the game, you have to push circle. If you push X, you're going to go back out into the menu again. You don't want to do that. It gets a lot of people the first time they sit down to play one of these things, and you're trying to progress through the menu, and you get to the character select screen, and they push X, and you're like, what did you do? Now we're going to go back, push circle. And then they push X again. It's like, God damn it, don't push X.
Yeah. So you just got to have Scroach there to tell you what to do.
I guess.
We're thinking Scroach should become the mascot. We're going to try to get a picture of him off of the PlayStation game to put up for everyone to see.
That's a good idea. I think it's absolutely necessary.
Yeah, I haven't searched to see if anyone else has done it, and I'm sure Adam is working on a better version of Scroach.
And, if you want to make Scroach do his thing, make sure you push circle.
And that was Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for our opening theme.
Be sure to visit our website at www.frontrowcrew.com. If you like our podcasts, you'll love our forums. Make sure you visit them. You can send your email feedback to geeknights@gmail.com. And if you want, you can leave us a voicemail at 206-333-1537.
Geeknights airs every weeknight, Monday through Thursday.
Geeknights is recorded with absolutely no studio and no audience. But unlike those other talk shows, it's actually recorded at night.